we're going to have millions of blockchains in the future, in the same way as we have millions of websites. What was the first thing that companies did when the websites came along? The question was, what can we publish on the website? That was the first thing that companies did. They said, oh, let's put our brochures on the website. And then it went from there. So now this is replaced by another question, which is, what can we expose on the blockchain? Is it on the blockchain? We're going to be able to say, well, if it's something that the public should know about, let's put it on the blockchain and let people check it. I remember the first time that FedEx allowed us to track shipments on the web. That was a big aha moment. That was in '95. That was a big aha moment. Now you don't think about it twice. Before that, you had to call, you had to punch in the web number and hear a recording, and then suddenly they opened up this capability to the web. All they had to do was, they had this information. They had it in the database. All they had to do was open it up to the web, and then suddenly you had a web application. The same thing is going to happen. Companies have all kinds of information behind doors, behind closed doors. And if only they gave us a bit more and then have things authenticated on the blockchain, I think it would be a great thing. Finally, I've called this last week, I've said that now we're going to enter a new phase of the blockchain where in the past it was driven by technology. I'd like to see more business people drive the blockchain agenda going forward. I know I started by telling you that developers are very important. So now I'm going to say the opposite thing. I'm going to say the business people are very important. So if you're a developer sitting next to somebody who's not, you can hug them too, because it's a partnership, really. Right? The best things happen when you put a technology person and a business person in the same room, and they each have a good understanding of what each others can do. And that's what produces the best ideas. So I am calling for us hearing more about business innovation, new business models, transformational activities, vertical solutions for every industry, whether it's insurance, more on supply chains, healthcare. I'd love to see more healthcare applications. It's kind of ripe for the blockchain. And then end user applications where you don't know that it's a blockchain running. That's the best sign that blockchains have come along, when the blockchain is really in the background and you don't really know that there is a blockchain in the middle. If you went on Steam or OpenBazaar, I use them as an example, you wouldn't know really that there's a blockchain behind the scenes. The OpenBazaar founders, they were telling me now they have users putting their homes for rent on OpenBazaar. So they called it OBNB. So I'd like to see more of these types of applications. I think if you're a business person, let's go and dream up these great applications. And finally, I think we can go to questions now. I put this as an example to just make a point. My book is being translated in many languages. The first 3 languages that received translation rights are Asian languages. The Chinese version is going to be available in October, then the Japanese version and the Korean version. I'm saying this because just to say that they are very interested in the blockchain. So watch out what's going to happen, because they like to read our research and then do things with it. And then they might sometimes they implement things better. So watch for what happens from Asia. This past last week, a big event in Shanghai, the Ethereum DevCon took place, followed by the International Blockchain Week, and more than 800 people showed up there, a mix from China and all over the world. So this is where we are today. And now we can take questions and continue on. Thank you very much.
Pretty good. So were your minds blown? Well, you start thinking about, like, when he's talking, all the different things, right? I mean, how many traders in the room? Ex-traders. I'm an ex-trader. So we dealt with blockchains, basically, that were private all the time in a clearinghouse, right? I mean, some of this stuff shouldn't be foreign to you. So really interesting. I've got a couple questions I want to ask William, and then I thought we'd just open it up if that's okay with you guys. And the first question I have is, many innovations start out as toys or games. While he's taking a picture, is there anything in the blockchain that resembles a toy or a game right now that you think could become the next thing? Like we played with drones, they're fun, and now there's business cases for drones.
Well, some of you have, do any of you have a wallet, like a hardware wallet? Do you like using them? They're tough, huh? I don't even have one myself because I go on the exchanges. Wallets are like bad toys right now. You can do a lot of damage with the wallets. I'd love to see a better cryptocurrency wallet, or maybe it will be integrated with the iPhone or with the smartphone. I mean, remember when the first iPhone came along, it wasn't perfect either. And then the BlackBerry folks laughed at them for a couple of years, and then it got better and better and better. So I can't think of any particular toy. I mean, actually, a lot of the companies, there's a slide I don't have here, but I have a landscape slide of about 300 companies in the financial services space. And many of them are not going to make it probably. So I would maybe put them in the toy category. But some of them will make it. And as if just about everything could be a toy right now, perhaps, the more I think about it.
Another question we got was, what is your take on being able to edit a blockchain? I know you've written a lot about this and a pretty strong opinion.
Well, this is the recent thing.
Right.
Anybody here from Accenture in the audience? maybe you can answer that question. I'm still scratching my head on that one. I mean, the editable blockchain is called a database. It's a database. We have it. But I haven't wrapped my head yet, because I know the author of that paper. So I'm not going to say anything negative because I haven't wrapped my head around it. It's an interesting idea, but I don't know yet why we would do this. I don't know why we would shy away from the immutability of the blockchain, because that's the good thing about blockchains. They're immutable. You cannot change them. It's for the record. It's like today, actually, I was sending a tweet today. Actually, Twitter is a bit like a blockchain, because once you send a tweet, you cannot change it. And I made a mistake. I was copying somebody, and it came out as somebody else. And then I realized that afterwards, but it was done. It was gone. People had liked it, retweeted it. I said, I'm sorry, I cannot change it because Twitter is uneditable. It's like the blockchain.
I can tell you when we were trading, we used to put prices in and take them out once in a while, so it's possible.
Yes, maybe for that purpose.
Yeah. Not an electronic market, but open up, right? So do you think adoption of this will be gradual, or a catalytic event that disrupts everything? So the web was kind of gradual, and then all of a sudden people saw the use case for it. How do you think blockchain evolves over time?
Yeah, actually, I have a blog post I haven't written yet, which is, the title will be Revolution or Evolution. I was going to add the slide here. I didn't add it. I am more in the camp of this is going to be evolutionary. I don't believe this is going to be a revolution. At least it is not today, because I don't want to hype it. It's not easy to implement on the blockchain. Especially when you're looking at legacy systems. Big companies could be busy for the next 10 years just doing blockchain projects to save money, to improve processes. And even the startups that are starting with 0 customers and maybe have 100,000 now, 50,000, there aren't a lot of blockchain applications that have 300,000 users, or 1 million users. Of course, the exchanges, some of the exchanges have that. Some of the wallets have that, but applications specifically, not yet. So I think we're in it for the next 5 to 10 years, and it's going to be an evolutionary step. Again, I mean, look at the numbers: 5,000 developers versus 9 million Java developers, and then how many assets are traded on the blockchain today? Financial assets. I don't think none. It's all in testing. Although I predicted that by the end of this year, we might see $1 billion of financial assets being traded on the blockchain via maybe one of the NASDAQ trials, or maybe Clearmatics will start with a little, just in a timid way. But it's going to start that way. I mean, I remember the days when we were celebrating $1 million in e-commerce on the internet. That was a big celebration in '96, $1 million. And then when Dell did $1 million too. And now e-commerce is $1.3 trillion. But everything starts small, and then suddenly it starts to gradually get bigger. So I think it's going to be gradual. It's not going to be sudden.
So the short answer is, if you follow zero hedge and are depressed all the time, keep buying gold and don't. If you think there's going to be a cataclysmic financial event that's going to break all financial systems and force everybody over to blockchain, it's going to be more evolutionary.
Evolutionary, definitely evolutionary. But this is the right time. This is the right time to get involved, to get to understand it, to figure out what it means for you, where you want to play with it. And these are the best times, because the more you understand it, the more you can be insightful for yourselves. Nobody knows your business more than you do. But you can learn the blockchain. You can learn what it can do, and then you can figure out for yourself what it means for you then.
So in the presentation, you talked about you'd like to see some apps on proof, which leads to law, obviously, right? Or it could lead to statistics, certainty. So for instance, in the debates, you're talking about fact-checking tonight. What if there was blockchain fact-check? I mean...
That's a good one, yes. But the facts are not, right now the facts are on Wikipedia. Right. But even some Wikipedia facts are not correct.
Right.
So that's what might be a good business. Have somebody really go for the real fact checking.
Because then the Byzantine Empire has to all agree that this is the fact, right?
Exactly. Yes. Right. Then it's a consensus that this is the fact.
Right.
And then if there was an easy way to verify those facts, I mean, somebody's going to figure out a way to make it as easy as Googling for information.
Right.
So now you Google for everything, for information, for services, for products. Somebody's going to have to figure out a way to, I don't want to use the word Google because it would be something else, to check the truth on something, or to verify. Maybe verification is the closest word. Verifying something. We want to verify that this happened. Is this the truth? Did this person do this at this particular time? That would be an interesting business.
Yeah, or statistics, because you want to be like, with machine learning and stuff, you do different samples and you come up with different levels of certainty based on the sample size and how you cut the sample and stuff.
Or maybe a bot, maybe combine some machine learning and bots to just go back and forth and check things on the blockchain. That could be a business.
So why don't we turn it over to the audience? I'm sure there's a lot of smart people out here, a lot smarter than me. Are there any questions? Yeah, Jeff.
What's your view on the future of blockchains being fragmented? You mentioned Ethereum, you got the Bitcoin blockchain. So do you see a battle of the blockchains 5-6 years out, or is there a coalescing around one core one that might dominate?
Yeah, so I don't think we're in a difficult situation right now in terms of, we can't say we have too many blockchains. Because the jury is still out. We're still very early. The thing is that it's not like the internet. Like the internet, there's just one internet. And it's not going to be like just one blockchain for everything. Not even in the public domain, and not even in the private domain. I think we're going to see a few of them. It's not going to be hundreds of important ones. The important ones will be, at least from what I can see right now, it might change in 3 years. I think initially the important ones will be a few. And you can tell by the ecosystem that's forming around them. So Ethereum, for example, has a great ecosystem of developers. Bitcoin has a great ecosystem of developers as well. R3 with their consortium has a lot of supporters with their consortium, 60 plus banks and financial institutions. So the